The Copenhagen Fiasco, Drawing 1. Dynamic principle of the cosmos. Since the cosmos is composed of a container, or space, and a content or cosmic energy that occupies everything, lines of action and impulse to movement, all the cosmic elements that make up this energy are subject to continuous movement, transformation, and change of state. And therefore, each and every particle and system of particles in the cosmos is in continuous movement and evolution, and therefore in continuous change of state, both internally and externally. Therefore, for each particle or physical element there is a different state from one instant to another, and therefore there is no superposition of states in time, but rather simple continued changes of state, and therefore evolution of their states. Author's considerations. Only minds with a simple, partial and restricted vision of physical knowledge can accept the phenomenon of superposition. Extensive minds with a broad vision and consideration of the set of physical phenomena cannot accept such a logical incongruity, such as superposition. And much less that it is man with his observation who intervenes in the wave collapses and creates the reality of the universe. Among other things because QM itself contradicts itself. If man cannot observe or measure accurately a simple pair of parameters of a particle, how is a wave going to collapse if he cannot measure its parameters accurately? In this case, is it going to approach the wave collapse only, and produce a semi-collapse of the wave or semi-physical reality? Or is it enough to try or simply want to measure it for the wave to collapse? Please, a little seriousness and consistency in the postulates. In the second drawing we see how all the elements of the cosmos are in continuous movement, from simple cosmic energy, lines of action to rectilinear movement in any direction of space, through the smallest particles, atomic particles, atoms, molecules, physical bodies, moons, planets, solar systems, galaxies, etc. And therefore no physical element, no matter how small, is still and unalterable, but quite the opposite. All physical elements are in constant movement, internally or externally, and therefore in constant change of physical state and position, so it is impossible for their state at a given time to be equal to or superimposed on a previous or subsequent state. For example, if we observe and study the states of the particles that make up and will evolve the development of an apple, we will see that each and every one of the particles, atoms, molecules, etc., of air, water, etc., that will form and develop the apple, approaching it, to later join and fatten the fruit. No superposition, but continuous movement and evolution of its component particles. The third drawing expresses how time can be considered as a dimension in the physical architecture of the universe, constituting a line of action and successive evolution, timeline, of all cosmic elements, such that at an instant of time t1 there will be a state of any element x1, and that because all the elements are subject to continuous movement and evolution, at time t2 there will be another state similar but different from the element in question, x2, and so on throughout the entire line of the passage of time. That is, two different times and states cannot be superimposed into one, since at each instant t there corresponds a different state x. What exists at time t1, x1, is different from what exists at t2, x2, although they may be very similar. And of course what exists at very different times will in all probability also be very different states, such as, for example, the time or era of the dinosaurs, compared to the time of our current era. In short, quantum mechanics is outside and does not adapt to the evolution and transformation of the timeline, so that particles do not have an evolutionary and transformational past, but a limbic state of infinite and indefinite possibilities. And of course there are no physical laws of transformation of the elements, but possibilities that man, converted into a semigod, manages to make them a reality with his measurements and observations, that is, in planets and galaxies where man does not exist, the physical reality of the elements does not exist either. Wonderful! How lucky was the earth that has us as creators! Thanks friends.